Hello and welcome to Chapter 5, Scanning. Remember, I'm going to ask you to take a few notes and submit them as homework. Okay, this is just a reminder. Okay, so let's get started so we can keep this short. In the scanning phase, this is when you actively engage and probe the target for you to get useful information. The types of scans that you can see is port scans, which means you can see which ports are open so we can permit through the firewall, for example. Network scan is used when located hosts on the network. You can use the Net Discover utility, which we'll use in the lab. Vulnerability scanning. Okay, vulnerability scanning. I want you to write this down because it's important, and this is going to be a very important tool for you to use when you're doing your pen testing. Vulnerability scanning is to identify the weakness on a network or a system. Very useful for pen tester, right? Scanning can reveal information such as OS information, the operating system information, services and processes, vulnerabilities in a system, presence of a firewall, some utilities that you can use. War dialing, tone log, all of these different, and ping command, of course. HPing 3 is also, which is a ping with some new added features and capabilities. Nmap, very powerful utility. It can do footprinting, scanning, vulnerability testing, scanning, and enumeration. If you want to know more about the Nmap, please visit nmap.org. We'll spend several labs using Nmap utility to gather information, by the way. Very important. So OS fingerprinting, you can get more details about the OS fingerprinting on a specific operating system, such as the time to live values, TCP window size, DHCP, and ICMP requests, and open ports patterns. Banner grabbing is grabbing designed to determine the information about services running on a system. You can use the telnet to retrieve some of that information. Okay, so all of that. What else do you need to know? Other tools that you can include: Netcraft, Xprobe, P0F. This is available in Kali Linux. Maltego. This is a good utility. There's a free version of it and a paid. You can download this, by the way. Where are we? We're down here. So the banner grabbing, Maltego, all of these are good tools that you can use. We'll use some of these tools in our lab, of course. All right, so these are the different types. We talked about OS fingerprinting. What else? Okay, so now let's take a look at scanning. The countermeasures. Okay, so I want you to write the following down when it comes to countermeasures. Vulnerability scanning, you can use Nessus, OpenVAS, and Nexpose. Nessus and OpenVAS will be able to use in the lab, although it requires you to download the software. Nexpose is really the most popular for pen tester and even for the cloud. It's really, to test out to make sure that your network is secured and there's no vulnerabilities whatsoever. And of course, we can use Nmap. So please write those down. Those are the vulnerability scanners that we'll be using as a pen tester. Also, using proxies, which we'll also do in the lab. Proxies are a system acting as a stand-in between the scanner and the target. They help us to stay anonymous. We'll do this in the lab experiment, by the way, later in the semester, in the evasion chapter. So all that information that you could use, please read these. I just wanted to quickly go over the notes to make sure that you peruse through them. And don't forget to read the chapter. So Let me see if there's anything that I think that is important. We did not discuss. We talked about the H being 3. We will use that command, by the way, in our lab. So it's best to see it in action. Well, of course, we'll be using the Nmap to do scanning for ports. We've discussed that. Okay, so again, the best way to do it is to actually see these utilities in action. All right, take those couple of notes that I asked you to do and submit that. I just want to make sure that you listened to me going over these, the summary of the chapter. Don't forget to read the chapter and definitely read the notes because the exams are coming out of these notes. Okay, so until the next chapter, the enumeration chapter, I'll see you then.